The scale, a cold, unyielding judge in the brutal world of mixed martial arts. It doesn't care about your training camp, your sacrifices, or your dreams. At UFC 319, in the electric atmosphere of Chicago's United Center, one fighter stepped onto that scale and felt his future teeter. Bryan Battle, a man once celebrated as a rising star, missed weight by 4 pounds, shattering a highly anticipated middleweight showdown with Nursultan Ruziboev. What followed was raw, human, and humbling, a moment of accountability, frustration, and a vow to set things right. This is the story of a weight miss that rocked the UFC, a fighter's apology, and a rescheduled clash that could redefine their legacies. Picture the scene. August 16th, 2025. The United Center hums with anticipation for UFC 319, a card headlined by a seismic middleweight title fight between Dricus du Plessis and the undefeated Khamzat Chimaev. The lineup is stacked with veterans like Jared Cannonier, Jeff Neal, and promotional debutant Aaron Pico, a former Bellator prodigy stepping into the octagon's glare. But tucked into the prelims is a fight with sleeper potential, Bryan "The Butcher" Battle versus Nursultan "Black" Ruziboev. Two middleweights with explosive styles, each desperate to crack the division's top 15. It's the kind of matchup that could steal the show, until the weigh-ins turned it into a headline for all the wrong reasons. Bryan Battle, a 30-year-old from Charlotte, North Carolina, carries the weight of expectation. A standout from The Ultimate Fighter 29 in 2021, he stormed into the UFC with a second-round submission over Trusan Gore, showcasing a blend of striking and grappling that marked him as a prospect to watch. His early middleweight run was electric, a 3-1 record, capped by a performance of the night knockout against Takashi Sato in 2022. But ambition pulled him to welterweight, a division where he believed he could climb faster. It was a bold move, one that exposed his greatest weakness. Weight cuts became his kryptonite. In May 2023 at UFC on ABC4, Battle tipped the scales 2 pounds over for a welterweight bout against Gabe Green. He obliterated Green in 14 seconds, pocketing another performance bonus, but the stain left a cloud. The pattern repeated at UFC 310 in December 2024, where he weighed in at 175 pounds, 4 pounds over the welterweight limit for a clash with Randy Brown. He eked out a split decision, but the victory was overshadowed by fan outrage and media scrutiny. The question lingered: could Battle master the discipline needed to compete at the highest level? By early 2025, Battle faced reality. The welterweight cut was punishing his body. He returned to middleweight, where he'd begun his UFC career, hoping the extra 15 pounds would ease the strain. His opponent at UFC 319 was no easy welcome back. Nursultan Ruziboev, a 31-year-old Uzbek powerhouse training out of Philadelphia, carries a jaw-dropping 36-9-2 record with 34 stoppage wins. Known for his sophisticating pressure and devastating finishes, Ruziboev has been a force since his 2023 UFC debut. His only promotional loss came against Kelvin Gastelum, a former title challenger. But he bounced back with a string of dominant performances that cemented his reputation as a finisher. This fight was a crucible, a chance for both men to prove they belong among the middleweight elite. But the fight crumbled before it began. On Friday, August 15th, 2025, the UFC 319 weigh-ins unfolded under the watchful eyes of fans and officials. The atmosphere was charged. Every ounce mattered. Battle, stepping onto the scale for his middleweight return, stunned the room. 190 pounds, 4 pounds over the non-title middleweight limit of 186. The crowd buzzed. The officials exchanged glances. Early reports suggested the fight might go forward, with Battle surrendering 30% of his purse to Ruziboev. But hours later, the UFC dropped a bombshell. The bout was scrapped. UFC 319, already reeling from 2 other cancellations, was left with just 12 fights. The decision ignited a firestorm. Social media erupted, with fans demanding Battle's release. One post read, "Cut Bryan Battle. He's not professional enough for the UFC." Another was harsher, "Get rid of him." The verdict was clear. Fans were fed up. If you're watching this and haven't subscribed to MMA Arena yet, hit that button now. We're diving deep into the stories that define the fight game. Raw, unfiltered, and straight from the cage. The weight miss wasn't just a number. It was a flashpoint. Battle's history, 3 misses in his last 6 fights, cast a long shadow. Was this a failure of preparation? A coaching misstep? Or something deeper? Ruziboev didn't mince words. In a public statement, he took aim. Instead of talking too much, you need to make the weight first. This is a professional sport, Blondie. The barb cut deep, especially after Battle's comments earlier in the week. In an interview, he pointed the finger at Ruziboev for their prelim placement, saying, "I should be on the main card. Nursultan is dragging me down. This isn't the UFC's fault. It's Nursultan's, and he's going to pay for it." Those words echoed hollowly when Battle failed to make wheat. Then came a moment that cut through the noise. In a quiet corner of the United Center, away from the cameras and the chaos, Battle sought out Ruziboev. The encounter, captured on video, was raw and unscripted. Battle's voice cracked with regret. He said, I thought it would be a lot easier." He referenced his return to middleweight. "I got a little bit sick towards the end of the week. It's on me. I'm very, very sorry." Ruziboev, his frustration, etched in his posture, arms crossed, eyes hard, listened. He'd spent weeks preparing, cutting weight, visualizing the fight. Now, he was left with nothing but show money. Yet in a display of class, he offered a path forward. "Let's run it back at UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi." Battle seized the chance. "It's on your terms now. October, Abu Dhabi. Let's go." A handshake sealed it. A promise born from disappointment. To grasp the stakes, we need to zoom out to the middleweight division. In 2025, the 185-pound class is a battleground. Dracus du Plessis reigns as champion. His unorthodox style and relentless grappling make him a polarizing figure. Below him, a murderer's row of contenders. Khamzat Chimaev, Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, jockey for position. The division's history is rich. Anderson Silva's 10-year reign, Chris Weidman's shocking upset, Robert Whittaker's grind to the top. For Battle and Ruziboev, UFC 21 isn't a fight, it's a chance to itch their names into that legacy. Battle's journey reflects the division's chaos. After winning TUF 29, he was hailed as a future star. His knockouts and submissions electrified crowds, but his weight misses have tarnished his shine. The UFC has a history of punishing repeat offenders. Anthony Johnson was cut in 2012 after missing weight at welterweight, only to reinvent himself as a light heavyweight juggernaut. Charles Oliveira overcame early weight woes to become a lightweight icon. Battle stands at a crossroads. Will he rise like Oliveira or fade into obscurity? Ruziboev is a different animal. His 36-9-2 record screams experience, with 34 stoppages showcasing his killer instinct. In the UFC, he's been a highlight reel. Think of his 2023 first-round TKO against Gerald Meerschaert. But the Gastelum loss exposed cracks in his wrestling defense, a vulnerability top middleweights could exploit. A win over Battle could have been his breakout moment, a main card slot within reach. Instead, he's left with a paycheck and a chip on his shoulder. You can sense the hunger in his eyes, the sting of a missed opportunity. What would this fight have looked like? Battle, at his peak, is a rangy striker with a knack for submissions. His 6'1" frame and 77-inch reach let him dictate distance with jabs and front kicks. Ruziboev, slightly shorter at 6 feet, is a pressure fighter who thrives in the pocket. His plan likely would have been to crowd battle, force clinches, and hunt for submissions or ground and pound. It's a classic matchup. Battle's movement versus Ruziboev's aggression. Battle's cardio could have been the edge. He's shown he can maintain a torrid base, while Ruziboev has faded late in fights. Round 1 might have been a war, with Battle circling and Ruziboev stalking. By round 2, we could have seen Ruziboev's grappling or Battle's counters steal the momentum. We'll never know. But UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi promises to answer those questions. Fans didn't hold back. Social media posts were ruthless, with one fan writing, "Battle should be cut. No way they run this back soon." Another noted, "He manned up, but this is his 3rd miss.
he's on thin ice. The message was clear. Accountability matters. Media piled on, with outlets calling Battle's future uncertain and questioning his discipline. Weight cutting is a brutal art. Fighters push their bodies to the brink, shedding 10 to 15% of their weight in days. A minor illness, like Battle's, can derail the process. His move to middleweight was meant to simplify things. But 190 was closer to light heavyweight. It begs questions. Is his team failing him? Is his body rebelling? Or is it a mental lapse, a failure to embrace the grind? The UFC's choice to cancel the fight rather than allow a catchweight signals a shift. Historically, the promotion has tolerated weight misses with fines, but 3 cancellations at UFC 319, Battle Ruziboev, King Green versus Carlos Diego Ferreira, and a tough finale suggest stricter enforcement. Dana White has cut fighters for less. Battle's 12-2